Okay, welcome you to the third lecture of our CAD section. Um, yeah. So in today's lecture, we'll be looking at another important aspect or important concepts in CAD. First, I will introduce you to what's called as the polar coordinate system. Then we will see how to actually we will use the layers as sorry, layers starting today. So and we will look at probably the circle command and also arc, and I will also introduce you to auto. So yeah, I will discuss what is this auto setting. um okay, yeah, that would be today's plan. Let's get started. Before we go to the lecture, so let me go to Moodle. Right. So here, if you log on to Moodle, you will see a file. Sorry, under this week, you will find a file where I have named it as AutoCAD. Um, AutoCAD template file. And yeah, when you click on that, you will download that file. So you will get, let me open that file. So you will see the blank file. So you will get nothing. The only difference is if you go to the layers, then you will see some layers. I told you that if you make a new file from the default templates, there are no layers. See, you have just only 0 layers. That is default, and I told you not to use that. So starting today onwards, we will not draw anything on 0 layer. Instead, you will draw the objects on the given layers. Okay. So if you're doing outlines, what you do, go to outline layer and create your objects. So see, now you have colors and line weights also. But if you can't see the line thickness, okay, so in some cases, this might be the situation. You will not see the thickness of the line in the screen, but it will print properly. Yeah, you don't know about printing, so let's forget about that one. If you don't see the thickness and if you want to see the thickness, what you do is go down here and there you will find this option called show height line weight. If you can't see that button, what you do is you click on this icon and there you select this one called the line weight. So that's what you do if you don't see that button. Now look at, so look at, when I enable or disable, you will see the thickness of the line. Okay, that's how you display it. Okay, so this is just for displaying purpose, but you can draw it. Nothing, nothing to worry. Okay. Right. Let's see. The save it here on the main. Right, it is going to be metric. That's so what. Worry that much about it. Okay, so that is the file when you open that template file. Okay. Sorry, I should not have closed that. Okay, let me open the file again. Okay, let's get started. So I'll be using these layers today onward, as I mentioned in the very beginning. Right. So I think everything is set up, and yeah, let's get started. Uh, Let me go back to the previous lecture. So in the previous lecture, I introduced you to the line command and how to draw a line, and also I introduced you the Cartesian coordinate inputs. And I told you that there are two methods. We have the absolute coordinates. Uh, so I think it's correct. And I told you that this is not practically useful. Therefore, we went and used relative, okay, relative coordinates, and that is, yeah, you must know it, okay. So it is very useful, and you will be using this a lot. So these are Cartesian coordinates where you input the x coordinate and y coordinate, okay. So and remember, I hope you remember, we used at symbol in front of the coordinate, say at 10 comma 5. Sorry, you don't use the parentheses to indicate the coordinate is a relative input. So in the relative coordinate inputs, uh, the current point, okay, let me increase the thickness, right? The current point, so let me say that as current point is treated as the origin. So let me undo that one, make it larger, right? So you treat this as the origin point, and the next input will be based on this origin point, okay. So that is my origin, and if you are drawing, if you are using that input, this input, then you are going um, like 5 units along y direction and 10 units along x direction, something like this. So like this, 5 along y and 10 along x. Okay, so always remember to put that symbol if you are using relative. Right, so that's what we did in the last lecture. So today we are going to use, sorry, today we are going to see another very useful concept. And this concept you should be familiar. So we are going to use what's called as the polar coordinates. Okay? So polar coordinates. So if you go back to your maths knowledge, you must have encountered this way of representing points. In the Cartesian, so we have x and y, right? Yeah, that is obvious. In the polar system, we don't use xy. Actually, this is polar 2D. In the polar system, what you have is a length. Let me write it in a different way. Uh, so you have a length and an angle. Okay? So that's what we have in polar. So you need to specify the length and the angle. So let me explain. So let's say we have a point somewhere here. And if I draw a line connecting the origin uh, like that, um, connecting the origin and this point P, So this line OP will create an angle with the x-axis, and that is the y-axis. Let's suppose that is theta. So if I want to give the coordinate of point P, I can simply say, uh, let's say the length is, let me use R for the length, OP. So that means the length of OP vector, okay, is equal to R. Uh, so I can write the point coordinate as length theta. Okay. So this, you should be very familiar with this in complex numbers. Okay, we use this a lot. So, so remember that the data is measured in counterclockwise. So positive data is measured in counterclockwise. Okay, so this, let me use a different color. Red color probably. Okay, this one. So this direction is positive. So that is the sign convention we are going to use. And that is sign convention used in AutoCAD as well. So positive, by the way, you can change this, but I don't recommend you to change this direction. What is the positive direction and what is the negative direction? So similarly, if you are measuring this way, so from x-axis downward, then the angle will be negative. Okay, keep that in mind. Um, yeah, that's basically how you do it. And in AutoCAD, you do something like this. In the command line, you enter, like, say for example, theta is 25 degrees. In mathematics, we usually may write theta in radians, but in AutoCAD, theta is in degrees. Okay, so keep that in mind. It is always in degrees. You can change this to radians, but in engineering applications, uh, uh, radians are not that useful because everything is in terms of pi. But yeah, so we are not mathematicians. So yeah, don't change the setting. So right now you don't know, but I will show you how to change this in the future. So, but my recommendation is don't touch that setting. You can keep the angles in degrees. Right. So let's go to AutoCAD. Okay, I forgot to mention. So in AutoCAD, you type like, let's say R is 100 units and theta is like 25 degrees. In that case, we type 100. This symbol, you can find it in my keyboard. It is just above the Alt key, this symbol and the angle theta. Okay, so that's all. Then you hit the space bar or the enter button. So that will confirm the input and draw the line. Let's go to AutoCAD. Let's say I start at origin 0, 0, enter. You can see the origin is, the first point is fixed. And if I type at 100 angle, say 25 degrees, yeah, so that is um, the current point now. So if I want to draw another point, I can simply write at say 70, angle is say 60, angle symbol 60. Okay. So remember always that this is a must. So this symbol, so don't forget that. I don't want to use that right now. Zoom out, enter. Right. So that gives me something to talk about. So notice that uh, so let me use a different layer and draw this one. Right. So the previous input was, by the way, I pressed F2 to bring this expanded command line. So if you press F2, okay, let's say F2 key, then you can actually collapse or expand the command line or command window. So you saw that I used 70 angle 60. Okay, so that means the length of this green center line is 60 and this angle, okay, let me write that. So that is 60. Okay, so that is 70. Um, yeah. So the thing is, these inputs are not very useful. So the problem is I was using absolute coordinates. So that means everything will be everything will be measured with respect to the global coordinate system or this XY. But in a practical application, when you're actually doing a drawing, I told you that absolute coordinates are not actually not, they are not useful. So in that scenario, you will not be using these absolute coordinates. Instead, you'll be using relative. So if you want to put so if you want to input some relative polar coordinates, what you do is simply put at, like in Cartesian. So if I want to draw a line with 100 units and angle is 60 with respect to x-axis, that's all. So this one is now 100 units long, and this angle of the line is 60 degrees. Okay, so simple like that. So that's all you have to worry. So absolute coordinates, yeah, they are fine for academic purposes, but not used in actually for practical applications. Okay, that's how you do. And that's how we use relative polar coordinates. So we don't forget the at symbol. So similarly, in the last lecture, I told you that you can draw a line, a horizontal line, by using say 100 comma 0. I forgot the at 100 comma 0. Okay, so that's going to be a 100 unit line with uh, sorry, that is along the x-axis, which is parallel to x-axis. But you can do the same thing with the polar. What you do is at 100 is the length, angle symbol, angle is 0, like that. So that is the same line. And if I want to get a vertical line, I can do like length is 50. Uh, Now this time the angle is 90 degrees. Okay, so like that. If I want to go in the other direction, what I can do is at say 100 Angle is 180. Done. Okay. So if I want to go and complete the rectangle, I can type at length is 50. So this time I can use two inputs. By the way, I could have used two inputs in that. Yeah. Um, so in this case, I can use two inputs. So what I can do is I can type 270, enter. So that will go to my starting point, undo. Oh, I can write at 50 minus 90. I told you that the negative angles are measured in clockwise direction. Yeah. So the negative angles are measured in clockwise direction and positive are measured in counterclockwise direction. So using that convention, uh, I could simply use negative coordinates when it is convenient. So I don't like typing 270, so I simply type minus 90. So yeah, I think that is easy for, for that application. Okay, but you have decided what is the best choice. So yeah, that is something that I find very useful. Okay, so you have the freedom to combine the negative and positive um, angles. Okay, let me show you another thing, another variation. Okay, so let's say if I told you that if I want to go, okay, let's say I want to go in negative x direction. Okay, in this way. Okay, so in that case, I can type at length is 100. Sorry, length is minus 100. Y coordinate is 0. Okay, so then I'm getting a line which is horizontal, but it is on the left side with respect to the starting point. Uh, so you can, if you're using polar coordinates, there are two ways to do it. One is you can type at 100. Angle is, but there are three methods: positive angles and negative angle, 180. So you get the same point. Or I can type minus 100, comma, sorry, not comma, angle 0. I forgot the at. Minus 100, angle 0. See? So you are going to get the same thing. So either you can use positive lens, or you can even use negative lens and positive angle. So you can combine all of these uh, combinations, let's say, and get whatever you need, whatever uh, you want to draw. Typically, okay, most of the time, I don't use negative lens. I simply keep the length positive and manipulate the angle or control the angle. Use positive and negative angles. But you have the freedom. So if you like using negative lens and positive angles, yeah, be my guest, no problem. Um, but I don't like to use negative lens, so you will not see me doing that. Okay, in the future. All right. Okay, um, let's try to draw an equilateral triangle. So that means all the lengths are equal. Like yeah, the triangle has three bases and all are equal. So that means this angle is 60, something like this. Okay. Let me try to do it here. So these lengths are equal, and that means this angle is 60 degrees, right? And that is also 60, and that is also 60. So if you want to draw something like that, let's say this length is 100, what I can do is, I know the length is 100, this angle is 60, I can type at 100 angle 60. Okay, I have the second point. By the way, you can use the close option, which will go and close this triangle. But if you want, I will show you how to do it without using these close options. So in that case, what I can do is simply type at length is 100 and the angle. So remember that angle is measured with respect to the x-axis. So that means this angle. Okay. If I draw an imaginary x line, if I draw an imaginary x like this, so that with respect to that axis, you are measuring the angle. Okay. So 100, I can type minus 60. Okay. So negative 60 will give me the desired one. So remember again, I'm highlighting this. Okay. So this angle is 60. Right? So that angle is 60. So if you're measuring it clockwise, so that is clockwise direction, that means it should be negative. So that's how you create objects with, okay, not create object, actually give points. When you're creating objects, you have to define points. So that's how you input points using relative polar coordinates. Again, absolute polar is not that useful. Basically, it is useless. And yeah, relative polar coordinates are, you must know them. So for example, if you want to draw it, draw this shape or this triangle shape, which is very simple. How do you do it without using polar, relative polar? If you're using Cartesian inputs, yeah, that would be very difficult. And you need to do like some calculations to get the coordinate of this point. Okay, if you know this angle and that length, you can find this coordinate by using trigonometry. But yeah, that is too much work. So, and that is less accurate compared to the polar inputs. Okay, so yeah, therefore I don't recommend using that method. So time consuming, and you can lose the actual accuracy of the software. So having said that, yeah, let's move on. So again, I'm emphasizing this is a very important concept and you must know this. And you will be needing this a lot starting this week. Okay, when you're going to, excuse me. So when you're starting your assignments, you will have problems. Yeah, polar is the only way to go. You don't, yeah, you will not be able to do anything, or you will not be able to do the correct drawing without using the polar inputs. Okay, so it is a must in AutoCAD. Right, so that is taken care of. Okay, let's go to, yeah, I told you, talked about layers and how to use them. Basically what you do is select the layer that you want and select the command and continue drawing. Okay. Oh, right. Let's come to this one, circle and arc command. Actually, these are two commands, and yeah, you will need them a lot. Okay, let's take this example, right? So in this example, I want to draw this object. Let's suppose, okay? Let's suppose I want to draw this object, and here we have like four holes, right? And yeah, basically those are circles. Um, right, let's see how you can do this. Um, yeah, there will be a lot of new things that you will come across. So let's get started. So this is 100 and that is 30. Let's forget about the inter one. Let's focus only on the outer shape, right? Go to AutoCAD. I will erase the existing one. Mm. Um, so let me change the layer. Mm. Let's 100, 0 at 0, 100. It might, and let me close it. So I use the C option. So therefore, I can close. I was able to close the object. Right. So yeah. So I have this object, this square shape. The length is okay. The length is 100 by 100. Right. So the goal is have this circle. So that's what we want to do. Um, Let me draw on outline layer. How am I going to do this? So that is the question. Uh, so if you know modify commands, things will be very easy. But let's you don't know the modify commands, and I will not be introducing them today. So the circle command is pretty straightforward. You can go to Home tab, Draw panel, and there is a circle command. Um, and if you look at the command line, it will be telling you to select the center. Once you select the center, it is going to ask you to select, enter the diameter or radius, So it is telling you to enter the radius, or you have the option to change to diameter. Uh, yes, so if that is the case, I can simply type radius is 5. Then I have um, the size is correct. The problem is the location. How can I position it exactly? So that is wrong. Um, by the way, the command alias for circle is C. You can type C and enter. So that will bring the circle command. Um, yeah, circle is pretty, yeah, it's very straightforward. So you type C, select the center, and select a diameter or a radius, whatever you have. Now, coming to my question, how can I position the circle 10 units from here? So if you think that is the base point, it should be 10 units along X and 10 units along Y, somewhere here. So how can I position or locate the center point exactly? You can do something like this. I can start the line command, start it here, and I can type at, sorry, 10, comma 0. Then I can type at 0, comma 10. So then I can finish the line command. You see that I have two additional lines. The circle. So if you have enabled object snap, this button, and there you have to enable the center. If you have those two enabled, now I can select the endpoint and type the radius. Okay. So if I apply the dimension, so that is diameter is 10. Oh, sorry. So it is corrected properly, or where it's supposed to be. But the problem is I have used these two unnecessary lines. Okay. So when you at the end of the circle, you have to delete these two lines, or you have to erase them. Um, maybe you can use this method, but that method is too long, and you are spending too much time um, on unnecessary stuff. Okay? So that is not um, an efficient method. And if you're doing these drawings, you are not going to use manual techniques. Manual technique is techniques are fine, but there are like very efficient tools in CAD where you can get the thing done with no time, in no time, sorry, in no time. Okay, so let me show you how you should deal that. Okay, so you take the circle command. Now I'm going to introduce you something very important. So a lot of important stuff today. What I'm going to do is press and hold the shift key and right click. Okay, again, you take the circle command, then you press and hold the shift key. When the shift key is down, you right click. So then you will get this menu where what you have You have similar stuff, like if you go to object snap, you will get similar stuff, but you will not see like these settings, like temporary track point from midpoint between 2 points and point filters. You will not see those four settings under the object snap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this one called from. So remember how you access this: shift right click. Okay, you press and hold the shift key on your keyboard and right click on your mouse, not the left. Right. Take the circle command, shift right click, and take this option called from. Now, if I go to the drawing, you know that the circle, this circle is located 10 units, um, 10 units along the x-axis and 10 units along the y-axis from this point. So if you think this point is the origin, that means um, it is 10 units along x and along y. Okay, so you assume this to be origin. So the from option will do the same thing. So now you can assign this is my origin. Okay, did it take? Oh, sorry, I closed it 2 times. Yeah. Now, once you set that point, you type at 10, comma 10. Okay. So it will give you the correct location without drawing those additional line segments. So now I can type the radius 5, enter. So let me show you the distance till DLI 10, and that is also 10. See, so no additional lines. You simply use the from option. See again. So shift right click from this one, and this case it is -10 and +10. At -10, y coordinate is +10, and the radius is 5. Okay, like that. So that command is very straightforward. What you do is select the center point and do the radius, but finding the center point can be the tricky part, or can be the one you should worry about. Right. Yeah. Yeah, let's take this example and try to do this one. So this is a very simple component. So we have two circles here with radius 50 and 40. So the internal is 40, external is 50. And the center distance between these two holes is 110 millimeters. And the diameter of a hole is 20 millimeters. Okay. Um, so that's all given. That is all what we are given. And we need to do this. Okay. So if given something like this one, So let me switch to the outer line layer. So where I'm going to draw the stuff. Let's keep it here. Okay, I'm showing you just one method, and this is not gonna be the best method. And you will, when you learn commands, you will notice that this drawing can be done very easily. Okay, so right now you only know the circle and the line command. That is the issue. Okay, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to start somewhere here so that I don't overlap the original object. So it is telling me to, I took the circle command, or I can simply type C and enter. So let's say this is my starting point somewhere here. So it is telling me to input the radius, or otherwise I can change to the diameter. So one way to change the diameter is go to the command line and click on this diameter button, and you can type say 50. Right, I have the first circle. Right, so I will draw the second one. So I take the circle command, move the cursor closer to the circumference of the circle. So once you see this green mark, you come back and click. So now I can type the diameter of 40. So I have the two concentric circles. So remember that I'm using object step. Now I want to draw these lines and arcs. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Remember that there are easy methods. So since you know only few commands, that is why we are following this method. So I'm going to take the line command, start here. What I want to do is, so if you look at the top line is starting here. But if I go to this one, I can't start. If I try to click, the line will go to the center. That is not good. That's not what I need actually. So let me undo Control Z. So if you want to go to what's called the quadrant point, so there are 4 points where the circle is divided in 4 sections. We call them as quadrants. And under the objects map, we have the quadrant. So I'm going to enable that and click here. So now you can see I can catch or snap to these quadrant points. So here the length is 55. So I'm going to type at. Where is that button? 55. Come on, 0. So I press the enter twice to finish the line command. I can press the enter again. Click here at 55, 0, and so the other one at minus 55, 0, at 55 plus minus, okay, let's say 55, angle 180. So that will give me the same thing. Again, this is not the best way. You will learn better method in the future. Okay, yeah, when you introduce you modify commands, so this is like you can do it within seconds. Okay, right. Now I have the skeleton. So I want to draw these two arcs which are connecting these horizontal lines. Right. So let me introduce you the arc command. So here, next to the circle, we have the arc command. By the way, there are different ways to draw the circle. Yeah, I want you to explore them. Um, so if you place the cursor, yeah, you can see what the command does. And there are like text, and in some cases you will see an animation. Okay, so those are very straightforward commands. Right, let's look at the arc. So the command is arc, or you can go to Home tab, Pro Panel, arc. Um, so when you select a particular arc option, you need to check what is there, what are the inputs that we have. So based on that, you decide which arc you use for your application. So if you look at all of them, by the way, I think most of them can be used. This one may not be useful like the continue option, but with some improvisation and creative thinking, you will be you will be able to use almost all of these um, options to draw these two arcs. Okay, so let me show you few methods, couple of them. Okay, not everything. So here, remember that the order. So here you have to select the start point, then the center, then the end point. Okay, so that is the order you have to go. And by the way, in this help file, you will see 1, 2, 3. What is the start point? What is the uh, center point? And what is the end point? Okay, let me select that one. So in this application, this is my start point. Now the center. So if you look at the diameter of the outer circle, that is going to be 55. That is, sorry, 50 millimeters. If you know that, the center is directly above here because it is like a half circle. So what I can do is I can type at 0, 25 to fix the center. Now you see, now I have the freedom. So for the second point, I can select this endpoint. That's all. Okay. So let's look at that again. Sorry. So command. Okay, now look at, I'm going to do the same thing. Same command. I select the start. Center is at 25. Let me use polar. Angle is 90. And if I try to draw it, if I select that point as the endpoint, see, in here I got the correct one, but second time, that is wrong. Okay, that is not the correct arc. So therefore, the order of the start, center, and is critical. So in this case, this should be my start point, and based on that, I decide the end point, center point. That's going to be minus 90, so 0, minus 25. That is my end point. Okay, I got the correct one. Let me erase this one and show you another way. So you have this option as well, start, center, angle. So this is going to be my start. You know how to give the center point, right? At 25, 0, sorry, 0, 25. And for the angle, so this is the angle. So let me go to this. In an arc, AutoCAD use some convention. So here, let's say that is my arc, and this is the center, and this is my start, and that is the end. And if you connect center with the start and end, okay, let me try to do it again. Right, yeah, that's fine. So this angle theta, so between the start line and the end line, so this is the angle AutoCAD is expecting, which is called as the included angle. Included angle, okay, that is that. And for this case, the included angle is 180. See, simple as that, if you know what you're doing. So I can erase this, delete that one, and this length is, yeah, you can use it. Give a try. So you can give a try. And here we have start and radius. Let's give a try. Start end radius. So let's say start end. So this is going to be my start. That is end. Oh, okay. For the radius, 25. 25 something. So 25. Okay, I have disabled my num lock. So when you enter 25, see, I got the correct arc. I used start end radius. Yeah, you can use this one as well. Start end angle is 180, like that. And same thing here. Start end radius angle. Okay, if I use start end angle. Okay, if I change the start and end, start end angle, you are going to get the opposite arc. So that is pretty good. You may be able to get the correct one maybe by choosing the negative angle, but I haven't tried. Yeah, you can give a try. So yeah, even this one you can use. You know the length is 55 between these 2 points. Okay. So yeah, you can. Yeah, you will learn that command in future. So don't worry. Right. Okay. Now I need to include this one, this circle, which is concentric with the arc. So simple. So I take the circle command, move the cursor here, and go to the center. And the diameter is 20. That's all. Simple as that. And here 20. So diameter is 20. So I get that. Shape. So I wanted to explore the rest of the right. the other arc options. So they are straightforward, but experiment with them. Okay, let me go here. So regarding um, the circle, like there are like 2 points. Basically, it is you are giving the endpoints. So now the diameter, you have defined the diameter of this circle like that. So, and if you want, you can have this option called tangent radius. So in this case, if I want my circle to be tangent to the top line and the bottom line, and say 20 millimeter radius, I can select this line, that line, and the radius is 20, like that. So that will give me, yeah, this circle, which is tangent to the top line, bottom line, and the radius is 20. So like that, we have these options, different options. We have the other last option like tan. That means it will be tangent to the three objects like this. So since this is a square, yeah, it will be tangent to all the edges of the rectangle. Right on. Okay, so those are the different variations or varieties of circle and arcs. So one command, but you have different options. That's all. Let me finish by introducing you the auto option. Okay. So if you look at these kind of objects, you notice that they have a lot of straight edges, and these edges are vertical or horizontal. So if your lines, okay, if your lines are horizontal or vertical, either any of them, then you this option will be, this method will be very useful. Say for example, if I want to draw this rectangle, let me go to an empty region, like somewhere here. I take the line command. So if I want to draw, what I did was previously I type at 100, 0, right? So I'm going to show you a different method. So this method, in this method, we enable this option called auto, or what you call it, it's a drafting setting. You enable that setting, and this is what we do. You point. So by the way, you can see the preview, right? The preview is giving you a horizontal line. So when you have the correct preview, you type the distance, enter. That's all. See, now I have a 100 unit line. So if I want to go another 100 here, I point in the correct direction or my desired direction, 100, enter, 100, yeah, and 100, enter, enter, like that. So no at, no polar coordinates, no Cartesian coordinates, you simply point and shoot like that. So let's say 20, 50, 40, like that. I can simply use the polar. This is a very useful technique, When the lines are vertical or horizontal, this method is very useful. And for your first assignments, I don't recommend. So you can't use this method, but afterwards you can use this. Right. So remember F8. So that's how you enable or disable the auto mode. Right. So that is important. Yeah, I think that would be it for lecture number 3. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can come to me, meet me, or yeah, you can discuss them during the lab sessions. Right. Yeah, that would be it. Yeah, have a nice day.